One day, a fourth grade um, Catholic school teacher asked her students, anybody remember the words that Jesus spoke about matrimony? One student stood up and shouted out, "Yes, sister, I know." And she said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "Jesus said about matrimony, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." I share the story and it ties in with today's readings about matrimony and all of us becoming one. Listen again to the words of Jesus. They are no longer two, but one with the other. This really talks about summing up even the vocation of everyone who's ever lived. We all hunger and thirst and yearn for oneness, unity. For most people, this comes through the sacrament of matrimony. But that's not the only one. It's maybe the primary one for most people, but um, it's all of our attempts to search for oneness, connectedness. Today's second reading from Hebrews states, Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers and sisters. This means that God's becoming one with us is far from something shameful. It's actually something we could almost say God is proud of. Why? Because 1:16 of John's first letter says, God is love. It doesn't say God does love. God's nature is love. God is love. And therefore, it follows that even God cannot go against God's nature and not love us. And therefore, God cannot not love us. We have free will. We can say no, but God cannot do that to us and go against God's nature. But we might ask, could there be some kind of an obstacle that we might engage in that would kind of thwart this oneness, this being one in God? I think it's the way that we fail to forgive. There's a story to illustrate this point. Many of you may remember many years ago the story of the Amish people and how someone broke into their school and killed and shot a number of Amish girls. The families of these young girls on that same day walked to the home of the murderer and talked to his wife and family and said that they forgave them from their hearts. Not only that, they invited them to the funerals. We can't but ask, how could this possibly be? I suspect the answer is found in the Amish daily practice of forgiveness and nonviolence. Because of this practice, when tragedy struck, they found it more readily available in their hearts to forgive, perhaps much more than any of us who don't practice daily forgiveness like they do. Someone once said that every age has its ambassadors of cheap religion, cheap religion. That's when people try to explain away suffering, such as saying, oh, well, God sends suffering for a purpose, okay? And especially to those who have sinned. That's cheap religion, all right? This cheapens God and cheapens all religion. How? By concentrating on the practice of blaming instead of forgiving. We need to blame someone. What if we could hold the tension and practice forgiveness daily? It's been said that up to 2/3, either indirectly or directly, of Jesus' teaching dealt with forgiveness. Gives you an idea of the importance of it. Could forgiveness and blaming, non-forgiveness and blaming be the work that we create out of our egos? What if we could heighten our awareness of the importance of the practice of daily forgiveness? Maybe we could start in small ways. Perhaps we could not judge and not blame someone who gives us a dirty look for no reason whatsoever. What about being behind someone in the grocery line who's got 1,000 coupons and we're in a really big hurry? What about those who perhaps forget our birthdays or anniversaries? And more appropriately today, what about those people who have a different political opinion than we do? Could non-forgiveness and blaming be our practice? What if we didn't give in to the need to blame and judge all of these out of relationship? Oneness through daily forgiveness. Oh, it's so challenging, but it's so fulfilling too. And how can we make this our daily resolution? How can we dare to do this? It's so against our nature, huh? I propose that it is only when we become aware that this kind of forgiveness is not us doing it. It's God doing it through us and with us and in us, and maybe at times despite us.